Hi and welcome to another Gate.io experience. Ruby here. For today, let's debunk a few common Bitcoin myths. We will also answer the most frequently asked and ridiculous myths about Bitcoin. One of the most common misconceptions about Bitcoin is that it's nothing more than a giant, stinky, gas-floating bubble ready to burst at any given moment. When, in reality, it's more like a marshmallow, suspended in the air, waiting to be enjoyed by all those with a sweet tooth for digital currency. The reason why many people think that Bitcoin is a bubble is because some investors who buy and hold it tend to get high returns. The time frame to obtain profitable returns depends on the existing market conditions. Conversely, investors may generate losses if the value of Bitcoin tumbles. Whatever the situation may be, it does not qualify BTC as a bubble waiting to burst. True bubbles are in fact economic cycles with high and unsustainable price increases. In this case, the realized value of the asset is much higher than its fundamental value. This does not apply for Bitcoin. Unlike traditional economic bubbles, BTC rose from 2009 at under $1 to over $69,000 in a span of 12 years. The constant growth in its price resulted from its wider adoption over time. For example, many institutional investors have acquired and hold BTC. Moreover, there are two countries such as El Salvador and the Central African Republic which have adopted BTC as legal tender. Another tall tale about Bitcoin is that it is completely anonymous, like a person walking around with a bag over their head and a flower in their hand. But the truth is that it's not quite as stealthy as some people would have you believe. In reality, it's more like a person walking around with a bag on their head that says Bitcoin on it, and everyone can see it. The reason for this assumption is that people use wallet addresses when making transactions, not their real names. They believe that since people use their private and public keys when sending or receiving BTC, their identities can never be known. Nevertheless, there are several ways of identifying the identities of owners of the different wallet addresses, plus their BTC transactions they make. For example, many people purchase BTC using their credit cards or bank transfers. Through this, relevant authorities can identify the wallet owners and the BTC transactions they make. In other words, some service providers know their identities but keep them a secret. Also, there are certain DeFi and other crypto platforms that require individuals to verify their identities through providing their national identity registrations or passport details. In addition, there are blockchain analysis tools such as Elliptic which track the movement of digital assets, such as BTC, on the blockchain. They are able to identify the identities of certain wallet holders through their tracking systems. People often think of Bitcoin as a currency that's only used for shady and criminal activities, but that's nothing more than a big, fat myth. Sure, it might have been used for some shady dealings in the past, but that's no different from regular old fiat money. Certain people criticize Bitcoin due to the fact that some criminal elements in the world use it for illegal activities, such as purchasing and selling drugs. They also point out the existence of the dark web with illegal marketplaces, where people use BTC as means of payment. In reality, Bitcoin can be used for all sorts of legitimate activities, from buying a cup of coffee to purchasing a luxury car. So don't believe the fake news and wild rumors. Bitcoin is just as legitimate as the dollar. Interestingly, these criminals also use many assets and equipment. For example, terrorists use mobile phones, vehicles, and bank accounts to carry out their activities. Therefore, it is not Bitcoin which is bad, but the criminals who use different assets and currencies to pursue their criminal motives. The truth about Bitcoin is that many people around the world use it for charity and other developmental projects, including fundraising for startups. In practice, using BTC makes it convenient for people to donate to individuals in countries that need help. After all, it is important to remember that a report by blockchain forensic companies FDD and Elliptic conclude that less than 1% of all Bitcoin transactions are used in illegal activities. Ah, the old chestnut that Bitcoin doesn't have any value. What a joke. Ha ha ha. Of course it does. It's like saying that the Mona Lisa isn't worth anything because you don't like to look at it. it's a ridiculous notion. Bitcoin is a valuable asset, and its worth has been steadily increasing for years. So next time someone tries to tell you that Bitcoin isn't worth anything, just give them a Mona Lisa smile, and remember that its value has been holding steady and strong for the past 12 years. Some people say that Bitcoin has no real value because it is not backed by anything. They also say that BTC is not tangible and cannot be turned into other things. As such, they say BTC is different from gold, which people can turn into other things such as jewelry. However, this argument is invalid considering that BTC meets two fundamental conditions of economic value, namely scarcity and utility. The truth about Bitcoin is that it has a limited supply of 21 million. Therefore, it has the potential to become one of the most valuable means of payment. Its supply is far less than that of fiat currencies, which do not have a limit and are not backed by anything as well. Likewise, BTC is produced through much computing power. As such, people use important economic resources such as large mining rigs, human resources, and electricity to produce Bitcoin, making it very valuable. One of the biggest whoppers that some skeptics have been spreading around is that Bitcoin has absolutely zero practical applications. Well, that's simply not true. This is clearly a misguided attempt to discredit this revolutionary technology that is transforming the way we think about and use money. Bitcoin can be used to purchase all sorts of things, from pizza to yachts, and it can even be used to tip your barista for an extra foamy cappuccino. In fact, Bitcoin has emerged as one of the best inventions of our century since it facilitates borderless payments without involving any third parties. Therefore, it has made it very convenient for people around the world to make cheaper international payments. The major driver of the utility of BTC is its scarcity. Apart from having 21 million BTC, the amount added to the blockchain continues to decline through the halving event, a process where the reward for mining Bitcoin is reduced by half after an addition of 210,000 blocks to the blockchain. Currently, many people without banks around the world find it best to use BTC when making payments. Already, many companies have added BTC as an asset on their balance sheets, showing how valuable it is. Some opponents of Bitcoin believe that, like so many other fads, it will eventually become obsolete and forgotten once a better, shinier, and newer cryptocurrency takes over. They might as well be saying that the new cryptocurrency is a shiny, high-tech robot that will come along and make Bitcoin, and all its users look like a bunch of cave dwellers from the Stone Age. Currently, Bitcoin is the #1 cryptocurrency based on market capitalization. Also, many institutional investors hold large quantities of BTC because they value it. In addition, we have countries such as El Salvador that have adopted BTC as a legal tender. It is worth noting that a major reason why many investors value BTC is its secure code, which has never been hacked. This is different from many other cryptocurrencies that have been hacked over the years. However, it is a fact that competition for BTCs will increase, but that will not mean it will become obsolete and be replaced by a competitor. There are absolutely loads of erroneous beliefs about Bitcoin that are floating around out there. For instance, some skeptics will tell you that Bitcoin isn't secure, but that's simply not true. In reality, Bitcoin is as secure as Fort Knox. You'd have to be an absolute master thief to break into it. However, the truth is that no one has ever been successful in hacking the Bitcoin blockchain despite widespread attempts to do so. Another fact about Bitcoin is that it was the first cryptocurrency to be used as a medium of exchange as well as an investment asset. As such, it made the trustless peer-to-peer transactions possible. The good thing is that there is no possibility of double spending since the transactions are irreversible. Likewise, a permanent record is made on the blockchain for every transaction. Hackers can only steal Bitcoin through hacking from crypto exchanges and other DeFi platforms. The main reasons why some people think that BTC is not secure are the hacks that occur on exchanges. For example, during the early days of cryptocurrencies, malicious actors hacked the Japan-based crypto exchange MT. gawks and stole Bitcoin. Misconception alert. Another big misconception about Bitcoin is that it damages the environment through much energy consumption during the mining process. According to one intrepid investigator, the banking sector worldwide consumes a massive amount of energy, a whopping 100 terawatts annually. But incredibly, rather than being concerned with the immense energy consumption of the banking sector, people have instead decided to focus their attention on the much less energy-hungry Bitcoin. Clearly, these people have never heard of the phrase, pick your battles. Some analysts say that Bitcoin uses around 62.85 terawatts of energy per year, which is more than what other countries such as Chile and Switzerland use within the same period. Despite the energy consumption during BTC mining, it is important to note that Bitcoin generates more than $1 trillion in value for millions of people around the world. Notably, the Bitcoin mining sector is shifting to using green energy in the daily operations. Most mining firms now use geothermal and hydroelectric power. This is because the main concern of certain dedicated environmentalists is that Bitcoin is damaging the environment due to the attributed carbon footprint. Saving the planet and creating a sustainable future for all is as important as crypto profits. Luckily for all, Bitcoin and blockchain technology is a lot faster to adapt to changes compared to the traditional financial sector, such as centralized banks. Another tall tale about Bitcoin is that governments can make it disappear in a single day if they wanted to. But although this may seem to be a sensible assumption, it is actually impossible for any government to shut down Bitcoin overnight. In fact, trying to do so would be like trying to put out a fire with a pile of gasoline. It would only make the situation a whole lot worse. No matter how hard they try, no government can put an end to Bitcoin. They may be able to contain it, but they can never completely extinguish it. Good luck to them. This is because the miners are responsible for verifying all transactions. There is no single central authority that controls it. Governments and banks do not have power over Bitcoin. As long as every user keeps their private keys safely, no one can take their Bitcoins. For someone to control Bitcoin, they should have over 50% of the network's computational power. However, that is difficult because that power is distributed to millions of individuals around the world. The only way that governments can control the use of BTC is to ban it in their countries. Nonetheless, it still remains very difficult for them to enforce such a ban, as BTC is decentralized. To effect a BTC ban, the government would have to fork out billions of dollars per year, which is highly exorbitant and prohibitive. Here's a fun fact. Do you know what is the biggest argument against Bitcoin? Many critics believe that Bitcoin is a bubble that will one day become obsolete. However, the price of BTC has been growing steadily over a long period. The increase in its price was a result of an increase in its adoption by institutional and retail investors. Another busted myth is that Bitcoin is dead without the internet. But please take notes here if you believe that because currently there are many other ways to send and receive BTC without the internet. This could include direct satellite transmission or even radio amateur waves. Bitcoin will never reach $1 million is another unfounded argument. It is possible for the price of Bitcoin to reach $1 million in the very long run when many people adopt it. Many people believe that BTC will reach that value beyond the year 2030. Another not-so-bright myth is that there's nothing much you can buy with Bitcoin. However, let me remind you that BTC is widely used and people can pay for accommodation, traveling services, vehicles, electronic gadgets, and many more. In countries where it is used as a legal tender, people can pay for almost all services and goods using BTC. Do you know any other myths about Bitcoin? Let us know in the comments below.